Welcome to English Without Limit. I'm Julia, your host for today's episode. If you're new here, let me tell you something important. On this channel, we upload new English practice lessons every day so you can improve your listening and speaking step by step. Stay with us because today's topic is very close to the heart of every learner. We're going to talk about why learning English is important, especially if you're studying at an advanced level like C1 or C2. English is not just a school subject. It's a bridge that connects people across different countries, cultures, and professions. Imagine you're traveling to another country for the first time. You might not know the local language, but if you know English, you already have a powerful tool to ask for directions, to order food, or to connect with people in a meaningful way. English is often called the global language, and for good reason. It opens doors that sometimes feel locked without it. Let me share a story with you. A man named Daniel grew up in a small town where almost no one spoke English. His family owned a small shop, and Daniel helped his parents after school. One day, a group of tourists came into the shop. They wanted to buy something, but they couldn't explain it clearly in his language. Daniel was the only one in his family who had been practicing English through podcasts and books. He spoke to the tourists in English, and suddenly everyone was smiling. They understood each other. The tourists even invited him to visit their country one day. For Daniel, that was the moment he realized English was more than just words on a page. It was a key to connection, to friendship, and to opportunities beyond his town. English also plays an important role in education and work. Many of the world's top universities use English for teaching. If you want to study abroad, you'll need English for lectures, research papers, and exams. Even in jobs, English can make a huge difference. For example, I know a woman named Sarah. She was a nurse in her home country and loved helping people. When she moved to another country, she had to pass an English exam before she could work in hospitals there. It was difficult, but she practiced every day, listening to conversations, writing notes, and speaking with friends. After 6 months, she passed the exam and continued her career. English gave her the chance to keep doing what she loved in a new country. Now, let's think about another situation. Imagine a business meeting with people from 5 different countries. One person speaks Spanish, another speaks French, another speaks Japanese, but the language they all use together is English. This shows that English is not just important for travel or studies, it's also the language of international business. Without it, the meeting would be full of misunderstandings. But with it, ideas are shared, deals are made, and relationships are built. For advanced learners like you, it's also important to think about English beyond grammar and vocabulary. At this level, it's about fluency, expression, and confidence. English becomes a tool for sharing your thoughts clearly, for telling stories, and for persuading others. Think about leaders, teachers, or speakers you admire. They don't only use correct English, they use powerful English. They make you feel something. That's what you can aim for as you continue learning. Let me give you another real example. There was a man named Ahmed who dreamed of working for an international company. He was skilled in his field, but during interviews, he struggled to explain his ideas in English. Instead of giving up, he joined an English-speaking club where professionals discussed different topics every week. Slowly, he learned how to speak with more clarity, how to choose the right words, and how to share his opinions with confidence. After a year, he applied again for the job, and this time he was successful. English didn't change his skills, but it gave him the ability to show his skills to others. Learning English also gives you access to information. Most of the world's research, articles, and knowledge are available in English. For example, if a scientist in Germany discovers something new, it's usually published in English so people around the world can understand it. Even instructions for technology, medicine, and professional training are often written in English first. If you know the language, you're not waiting for someone else to translate. You can understand it directly. There's another side to this too. English gives you the ability to share your story with the world. For example, Maria, a teacher from Brazil, started writing blog posts in English about her classroom experiences. She wanted to share methods that helped her students learn better. Soon, teachers from other countries began reading her blog and even invited her to speak at conferences. Before, her ideas were limited to her own school, but with English, her ideas reached thousands of people. Learning English is also about family and future generations. I know a man named Raj who moved to another country with his wife and two children. He realized that his children would study in English and he wanted to help them with homework and lessons. So he studied English every night, reading simple stories and practicing conversations. Slowly, he became confident enough to support his children. He often said, English is not just for me, it's for my family. So when we ask the question, why is learning English important? The answer is wide. It's important for travel, education, work, communication, knowledge, and family. It's not just about memorizing words, it's about opening doors. Every new phrase you learn, every new sentence you understand is like another step on a road that can take you anywhere. English also gives you the power to see the world differently. When you read or listen in English, you're not only learning a language, you're learning new ways of thinking. Many cultures have unique ideas that are expressed best in their own languages. But when those ideas are translated into English, they become available to millions of people. That means by understanding English, you're not only learning words, you're learning about the lives, struggles, and dreams of people all around the world. Let me tell you about David, a young engineer from Kenya. He always wanted to work on renewable energy projects, especially solar energy. Most of the research papers and training videos he needed were written in English. At first, he struggled because the technical words were very advanced, but he didn't give up. Every night he read articles and watched lessons in English, taking notes and repeating phrases. After a year, His English improved so much that he was able to attend an international conference in London. There, he presented his project about solar energy in villages. People from different countries listened, asked questions, and even offered to support his project. David realized that without English, his idea might have stayed in his hometown, but with English, it reached the world. Another reason English is important is that it helps build confidence in communication. Imagine a doctor in India who wants to share medical knowledge with other doctors from Germany, Japan, and Canada. If they all speak their own languages, it's impossible to share ideas. But with English, communication becomes smooth. I once read about a doctor named Hassan who attended an international medical workshop. He admitted that he was nervous about speaking in English at first, but he pushed himself to ask questions, to introduce himself, and to join discussions. After a few days, his confidence grew, and he realized that people respected him not just for his medical knowledge, but for his effort to communicate clearly in English. English is also a tool for leadership. Think of world leaders, business leaders, or educators. They often use English when they speak on international platforms. A powerful speech in English can inspire millions. I remember hearing about a teacher named Anna from Poland. She used to give motivational talks in her local language, but later she decided to learn English more deeply so she could reach international students. After years of practice, she gave her first talk in English at an international event. She said later, "When I spoke in English, it felt like my message suddenly had wings. It could travel beyond borders." For C1 and C2 learners, the challenge is often not understanding words, but expressing complex ideas with accuracy and emotion. At this level, you want to be able to explain your opinions, defend your arguments, and share your perspective in a way that others find clear and engaging. Imagine a debate where two speakers are discussing climate change. One of them uses very simple English, but the other uses advanced vocabulary, examples, and strong expressions. Even if both know the topic well, the second speaker will sound more convincing because of their language skills. Let me share another story. A man named Samuel worked in international trade. He often met clients from different countries. At first, he only used short sentences in English, enough to complete business deals. But he realized that if he wanted to grow his career, he needed to be more than just good enough. He needed to be persuasive. So he started reading English newspapers and listening to debates to learn how people structured arguments. Soon, he was able to speak more confidently using advanced phrases like, "from a long-term perspective," or "let me highlight the key point." His colleagues noticed the change, and his career moved forward much faster. Learning English is like planting a tree. At first, it looks very small. You water it, give it sunlight, and for a while, you don't see much change. But slowly, it begins to grow. Over the years, it becomes stronger, taller, and more useful. One day you sit under its shade and realize that all the small daily efforts have created something big. It's the same with English. Every word you study, every story you listen to, and every sentence you practice is like watering that tree. Over time, the results are clear. You begin to speak more confidently, understand more deeply, and connect with others more easily. Let's look at how English influences careers. Take the example of Fatima, an architect from Morocco. She was talented in design and her drawings were beautiful, but when international companies visited her office, she often stayed quiet because she didn't feel confident in English. She knew what she wanted to say, but worried about making mistakes. One day, she made a decision. She would practice English every morning before work, even if only for 30 minutes. She read about architecture in English, watched interviews with designers, and kept a notebook of new phrases. After 1 year, when a big company from Germany came to Morocco to discuss a new project, Fatima joined the meeting with confidence. She presented her ideas clearly in English, and they were impressed. Later, they offered her the chance to join an international design project. Without English, her talent might have stayed hidden. With English, her career took a new path. Another area where English changes lives is technology. Think about how fast the world is moving with new inventions, apps, and digital tools. Most of the guides, instructions, and tutorials are written in English first. If you know the language, you can keep up with the latest changes. For example, a young man named Radish from India wanted to learn programming. He found many online courses, but most of them were in English. At first, he struggled with the technical vocabulary, but he decided to take notes and repeat the words until they became natural. After some months, he was not only coding, but also helping others online in English. Today, he works remotely for companies in different countries, earning much more than he could have in his local area. English gave him access to knowledge and income that changed his entire life. English also plays a role in travel and global understanding. Imagine you're at an airport in a country where you don't know the local language. The signs, the announcements, and even the emergency instructions are usually in English. This is not just convenient, it can be life-saving. There was a story about a woman named Elena who traveled from Ukraine to Thailand. At the airport, her luggage was misplaced. She felt stressed and tired, but because she knew English, she was able to ask for help, explain the situation, and get her luggage back. Later, she said, "English was like a safety net. Even when I felt lost, I knew I could rely on it." But English is not only for practical situations. It also gives you the ability to experience stories, literature, and culture. Many of the world's greatest books are written in English. When you read them in the original language, you feel the emotions more deeply. For example, John from South Korea loved reading history, but he always read translations. When he finally read books in English, he discovered small details that translations couldn't capture. It was like hearing the author's true voice. This gave him not only joy, but also a deeper respect for the power of language. For professionals, English is often the key to leadership. Think of international conferences where people share new discoveries. If you can speak and listen in English, you can participate in those conversations instead of sitting silently. A doctor named Sophia from Egypt once shared her story. She attended a medical event in the United Kingdom. At first, she thought she would just listen quietly. But when the discussion started, she found the courage to ask a question in English. That question began a long conversation with another doctor, who later invited her to join a research project. Sophia said later, "Speaking in English was the turning point. Without it, I would have stayed invisible." Another powerful example is how English supports communities. In many countries, immigrants face challenges when they move abroad. A man named Ibrahim moved with his wife and children to Canada. At first, he couldn't communicate well in English, and even simple tasks like buying groceries or visiting the doctor felt difficult. But instead of giving up, he joined a local English learning group. Every evening, he practiced with his classmates. Over time, he became confident enough to talk to teachers at his children's school, to apply for jobs, and to join community meetings. His children saw his hard work and were inspired to study harder too. For Ibrahim, English wasn't just about personal progress, it was about building a better future for his family. English also plays a role in personal growth. When you learn another language, your brain becomes more flexible. You learn how to think in different ways, how to switch between ideas, and how to notice small details. A university professor once explained that people who learn English often become better at problem solving, not just in language, but in general. For example, Maria from Chile worked as a project manager. She said that learning English helped her organize her thoughts more clearly, even when she was speaking Spanish. She explained, "English gave me a new way of structuring ideas. It improved how I think." Now, let's imagine international teamwork. Suppose an engineer in Turkey, a designer in Italy, and a business manager in South Africa are all working together on the same project. They need one common language to share updates, solve problems, and finish the work. That language is almost always English. In this way, English acts as a bridge across oceans and cultures. Without it, teamwork would collapse. With it, projects succeed. At an advanced level, like C1 or C2, the goal is not only understanding, but also mastery. You want to sound natural, persuasive, and confident. For instance, when giving a presentation, it's not enough to know the vocabulary. You also need to know how to emphasize key points, how to pause for effect, and how to make your audience feel connected. Think of a lawyer named Thomas from France. He was brilliant in his field, but when he presented in English, he used very flat language. So he started studying famous speeches in English, focusing on tone and rhythm. After some practice, he began using phrases like, "Let me outline the crucial steps," or, "From another perspective, we see a different picture." His presentations became much stronger, and soon he was invited to represent his firm at international meetings. Another point is how English helps people share their own culture with the world. For example, Aisha from Indonesia loved cooking traditional dishes. She started writing recipes in English and sharing them online. People from all over the world began trying her recipes and asking questions. She not only shared food, but also shared her culture, her traditions, and her family stories through English. Her voice reached people far beyond her local community. There is also the importance of English in solving global problems. Climate change, health crises, and technology ethics are all discussed internationally, often in English. For example, during global health emergencies, doctors and scientists publish reports and guidelines in English so that people in different countries can understand them quickly. This shows that English is not just for personal success, it is for global cooperation. Think about how many lives are touched by this language. An artist in Brazil can sell paintings to buyers in Canada by writing descriptions in English. A farmer in Africa can learn about modern farming methods through English videos. A student in Bangladesh can attend an online course from a university in the United States. The opportunities are endless, but they all begin with learning English. English is also a language of dreams. Many people imagine studying in famous universities, traveling to far countries, or working in international companies. To make those dreams real, English is often the first step. For instance, Jamal from Pakistan wanted to study economics in the United Kingdom. His grades were excellent, but he needed a high score on the IELTS exam. He spent months practicing listening, reading, and writing in English every day. Finally, he passed with a high band score and received a scholarship. He later said, "English was the door. Once I opened it, the world felt closer." Another story is about Ilya from Turkey, who wanted to become a journalist. She realized that most international news is reported in English. So she began practicing writing articles in that language. She sent her work to online platforms, and soon her reports were published. Through English, she was able to tell the stories of her people to the entire world. English connects families across generations, too. Imagine a grandfather who never learned English, but his grandchildren speak it every day. When the grandfather decides to learn, even at an older age, he not only learns words, but also shows his grandchildren the value of hard work and lifelong learning. This creates a bond between generations. English has a special role in shaping how people interact in today's world. It is the main language of international organizations, research communities, and even online platforms. If you think about it, most websites, articles, and discussions you find on the internet are in English. This means that when you learn the language, you are not just improving your communication skills, you are opening the door to one of the largest libraries of knowledge ever created. For example, scientific papers are often published in English first. If you are a researcher, you cannot fully engage with the latest discoveries unless you understand the language. Consider the story of Hassan, a university student from Sudan. He was studying engineering, and his dream was to design bridges. But the textbooks in his language were limited, and he wanted to explore modern techniques. He turned to online resources, but almost everything was in English. At first, it was difficult to read technical terms, but Hassan created a routine. Each evening, he wrote down 5 new words from his textbooks, used them in sentences, and repeated them until they felt natural. Within a year, he could read complex engineering reports without translation. This helped him design a project that later won recognition at his university. Without English, those ideas might have stayed out of his reach. Another reason English is important is because of international cooperation. Let's imagine 2 countries working together on a health program. One country speaks Portuguese, the other speaks Arabic. How do they communicate with each other? They use English as their shared language. This shows how English functions like a bridge. bringing together people who otherwise would not understand one another. In today's world, cooperation is necessary to solve global problems, and English often serves as the main tool for that cooperation. Now, think about the workplace. Many multinational companies use English as their official language, even when they are not based in an English speaking country. For instance, a Japanese company working with clients in Europe and Africa will likely hold meetings in English. This is why professionals everywhere are motivated to learn it. I remember reading about a man named Pedro from Brazil. He worked in marketing and was very creative, but during international meetings, he could not always explain his ideas clearly. His boss encouraged him to improve his English. So, Pedro began joining online discussion groups and practicing presentations. Soon, he became confident enough to lead international meetings himself. His career advanced quickly because he was no longer limited by language. English also creates opportunities for entrepreneurship. Many small business owners have discovered that when they can write in English, their products reach global markets. Take the example of Amina from Egypt. She made handmade crafts and at first sold them only in her local market. One day, her cousin showed her how to list products on international websites, but the platform required English descriptions. Amina took the challenge. She learned how to describe her products using simple but clear English. Soon, buyers from different countries started purchasing her crafts. What began as a small local shop became a business with customers across the world. This change was possible because she dared to learn and use English. Another area where English matters is education. Universities in countries like Germany, Sweden, China, and the Netherlands often teach master's programs in English. This allows students from different backgrounds to come together in one classroom. I know a young woman named Zara from Iran. She wanted to study environmental science. The program she liked was in Germany, but it was taught in English. Zara dedicated herself to improving her English level before applying. When she was accepted, she found herself in a class with students from 10 different countries. They all had different cultures, but English was the language that united them. This not only helped her study her subject, but also helped her learn about the world from her classmates. It is also interesting how English helps with online communities. People who play games, join discussion forums, or attend webinars often use English to communicate. This builds friendships and collaborations across countries.
For a student named Li Wei from China was interested in astronomy. He joined an online astronomy club where members from many countries shared pictures and discussed stars and planets. The group used English as the main language, and at first Li Wei was shy. But as he continued reading and posting small comments, his English improved. After some time, he even gave an online presentation about his telescope work. English allowed him to share his passion with people who shared the same interest. At an advanced level, like C1 or C2, English becomes more than just functional. It becomes expressive. You want to be able to add nuance to your speech to make your words powerful. Imagine two speakers at a conference. One says, "This is important." The other says, "This issue is critical because it will affect the next generation and shape our shared future." Both are correct, but the second one has more impact. Learning advanced English means learning how to choose words that make people listen, respect your ideas, and remember your message. Tell you a story about Omar, a lawyer from Jordan. He often worked on international cases where clients were from different countries. His English was good, but he noticed that during negotiations, native speakers sometimes used idioms or expressions that he did not fully understand. He decided to study those expressions carefully. He created flashcards, practiced them with colleagues, and even wrote mock dialogues. Slowly, his English began to sound more natural, and his clients trusted him even more. Omar explained later that learning advanced English was not just about vocabulary, but about building trust and authority in his profession. English also influences media and communication. News articles, scientific magazines, and global reports are often published in English first. If you know the language, you do not have to wait for translations. For instance, when new research about climate change is released, it usually appears in English. Scientists, journalists, and decision makers read it immediately. This means that English speakers are always ahead in terms of information. Being able to understand these sources directly makes you part of the global conversation instead of waiting at the edges. Think also about conferences and public speaking events. A teacher named Clara from Spain wanted to attend an education summit in Singapore. The sessions and workshops were all in English. She worked hard to prepare herself, practicing every day by recording her own voice and listening back. When she finally attended, she not only understood everything, but also stood up to ask a question during the conference. Later, a group of teachers approached her to exchange contacts. Clara returned home with new knowledge, new friends, and new opportunities. All of this happened because she had taken English seriously. English also gives people access to digital platforms where ideas are exchanged. Online courses, professional training, and even volunteer opportunities often require English. For example, Michael from Poland wanted to volunteer for an international charity that helped people after natural disasters. The organization required volunteers to understand English because teams included people from many countries. Michael improved his English through practice tests and speaking clubs, and when he finally joined, he was able to work on projects in Asia and Africa. His story shows that English is not just for personal gain. It also allows you to help others in times of need. Another fascinating aspect of English is that it helps people tell their own stories globally. For example, Fatou from Senegal loved writing poems. She started sharing her work online in English. At first, her poems were simple, but they carried strong emotions. Soon, readers from many countries began to follow her page. She was invited to read her poetry at an international cultural event. Fatou explained that English gave her a wider audience, people she would never have reached otherwise. When we think about family, English is important too. A man named Yusuf moved to Australia with his wife and children. His children quickly learned English in school, but Yusuf struggled in the beginning. He wanted to support them with their homework and be part of school meetings, so he studied every night. He practiced reading stories out loud to his children, who corrected him kindly. Over time, his English improved, and soon he could attend parent-teacher meetings with confidence. For Yusuf, learning English was an act of love and responsibility for his family. Another powerful story is about Layla, a scientist from Tunisia. She wanted to share her research on renewable energy with the world. She wrote her papers in English and submitted them to international journals. At first, her writing was corrected many times, but she never gave up. She revised again and again, and finally, her article was published. Other scientists contacted her to collaborate on projects. Layla said, "English gave my research a voice. Without it, my work would stay hidden." For advanced learners, one important skill is the ability to argue and debate in English. This is especially important in careers like law, politics, and education. A student named Daniel from Nigeria joined an English debate club at his university. At first, he lost many debates because his sentences were not sharp enough. But after studying advanced connectors and persuasive techniques, he began winning. His skill later helped him in job interviews and professional discussions.
English also opens doors to mentorship. Sometimes the person who can guide you is in another country. If you share a common language, you can connect with them. For example, a young entrepreneur in Turkey named Salim wanted advice about starting a business. He reached out to a mentor in the United States through email. They communicated in English, and Salim received valuable guidance that helped him grow his company. Without English, that connection would never have happened. Finally, English is important because it allows people to dream bigger. It is not just about grammar or vocabulary. It is about vision. It is about being able to say, I can study here. I can work there. I can share my story with the world. Each sentence you learn is like a step toward a bigger future. When we think about why learning English is important, we often start with the simple fact that English has become the language of connection. But to make this more real, let me share another story. A man named Daniel grew up in a small village where people mostly spoke their local language. For many years, he believed English was only necessary for students who wanted to travel. But then, his company opened a partnership with a business in Singapore, and suddenly, the official language for communication was English. At first, Daniel felt nervous, but he quickly realized that without English, he would miss out on the biggest project of his career. He spent hours practicing, listening to English podcasts, and even talking to colleagues in English during lunch breaks. Within a few months, he was not only participating in meetings, but also leading discussions. Daniel's life changed because English gave him a seat at the table. Another example comes from Sarah, a young mother who wanted to help her children with their schoolwork. She lived in a country where schools use English textbooks for science and technology. She had never studied English deeply before, but she started learning because she wanted her children to succeed. She began with small steps, reading simple books, writing short notes, and speaking in English whenever possible. Later, she realized that her new skills opened doors for herself as well. She started tutoring other children in English, and eventually this side activity turned into a full career. Her story shows us that English is not just about personal growth, it can also create opportunities for families and communities. For travelers, English works like a universal key. Imagine you are at an airport in Turkey, waiting for your flight. The announcements, the flight information boards, and even the emergency instructions are often in English. Now, imagine a tourist named Peter from Brazil who visited Malaysia. He spoke Portuguese and a little Spanish, but almost no Malay. However, because he could communicate in English, he was able to ask for directions, order food in restaurants, and even make new friends during his trip. Without English, his experience would have been full of stress. With English, he felt free and confident. That freedom is one of the biggest reasons why people value this language so much. Let me tell you about another interesting case. A doctor named Ryan was invited to attend an international medical conference in Germany. The conference had people from Japan, Egypt, South Africa, and many other countries. Everyone spoke different native languages, but the one thing that united them was English. When Ryan presented his research in English, people from every corner of the world could understand him. After the event, he received offers to collaborate on global projects, and those opportunities helped him grow in his career. English gave him the ability to share his ideas beyond borders, something that would not have been possible if he had only used his local language. We can also see how English plays a role in education. Think about universities like Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, or the National University of Singapore. Many of their courses are taught in English, and students from different nations come together in those classrooms. A student from Bangladesh can sit next to a student from Italy and discuss research in English. Without this shared language, knowledge exchange would be extremely limited. This is one of the strongest reasons why so many learners put effort into mastering English. They want access to the world's best books, lectures, and research papers, which are often available first in English. To make it more personal, imagine Fatima, who dreamed of becoming a software engineer. Most of the programming tutorials, online courses, and technical resources she needed were in English. At first, this felt like a challenge because her English was at a beginner level. But she made a schedule where every morning she would read one article in English and watch a short technical video with subtitles. Over time, her listening and reading improved, and she became comfortable with technical vocabulary. She eventually got a job in a global tech company where she used English every single day. For Fatima, English was not just a subject in school, it was the bridge to her dream job. Another important reason why English matters is networking. People use it not only for work or study, but also for building relationships across the world. Imagine a conference, a sports event, or even a community project online. The participants may come from 20 different countries, but they choose English as the common language. For example, Ahmed from Morocco joined an online group of environmental activists. Some were from India, others from Canada, and some from Kenya. Their discussions were all in English. Because of that, Ahmed was able to share his ideas, learn new strategies, and even make lifelong friends. English became the tool that connected them all. Now, let's look at how English shapes people's confidence. There was a man named Samuel who always avoided public speaking. He was afraid of making mistakes in front of others. But when he finally learned to express himself in English, something unexpected happened. He began to feel braver, not only in English, but also in his native language.
Learning English taught him how to organize his thoughts, how to use examples, and how to stay calm during conversations. He told me that English gave him a new identity, a person who was no longer afraid of communication. This shows us that learning English
can change the way we see ourselves. Sometimes English even helps in unexpected life situations. I remember a story about a traveler named Aisha. She was visiting a small town in a foreign country when she fell ill and needed to see a doctor. The local people could not understand her language, but the doctor spoke some English. Because she could also explain herself in English, the doctor understood her condition and gave her the right treatment. That experience taught Aisha the practical value of English. It can help in emergencies when you need to communicate quickly and clearly. There is also the example of business owners. Let us think about Mr. Kareem, who ran a small clothing shop. At first, his customers were only local people. But when he created an online store, he started getting orders from other countries. To answer customer questions, he had to write emails in English. It was difficult at the beginning, but he improved step by step. Soon his business expanded and he was shipping clothes internationally. English turned his small shop into a global business. This is another reason why English is important in today's connected world. For students preparing for higher education, English can be a ticket to scholarships and exchange programs. A young woman named Elena wanted to study architecture abroad. She applied for scholarships in several universities, and the first requirement was strong English skills. She studied day and night, practicing essays, taking practice exams, and improving her speaking. Her hard work paid off. She received a full scholarship to study in London. Elena often says that English changed her destiny. Without it, she would have stayed in her small town. With it, she built a new life full of opportunities. Even for people who stay in their home countries, English plays a role in everyday life. Think about using technology. Most smartphones, websites, and applications use English instructions. Even if translations are available, the first version is often in English. A man named Raj learned this when he bought new software for his office. He struggled with the translation because it was not accurate. So he decided to read the English instructions directly. That decision saved him hours of confusion. He realized that English does not just open big doors like careers and travel, it also helps in small but important daily tasks. English is not just a language. It is a doorway to countless experiences and opportunities that we may not even imagine at first. Consider the story of Amir, a young man from Pakistan who wanted to work in the field of renewable energy. All the best research papers, tutorials, and online lectures he could find were in English. At first, Amir struggled to understand technical terms and complex sentences, but he didn't give up. He began dedicating an hour every day to reading articles in English, watching lectures, and taking notes. Gradually, his comprehension improved and he could follow advanced discussions online. Within a year, he applied for an internship with an international organization and was accepted. English made it possible for him to access knowledge that would otherwise have been out of his reach, changing the trajectory of his career entirely. Another area where English proves invaluable is in cultural understanding. Imagine a young woman named Sophia from Mexico who loved literature. She had read a few translated novels, but always felt that something was missing. One day, she decided to read classic and contemporary works in English. She found that she could connect more deeply with the author's thoughts, humor, and cultural references. This not only improved her language skills, but also broadened her worldview. She began to see that learning English allows you to appreciate ideas, traditions, and perspectives that are not always fully conveyed in translation. English also helps individuals take part in global conversations. Take the example of Dr. Rashid, a scientist from Jordan who wanted to contribute to a global conference on water conservation. The conference included experts from multiple continents, and English was the common language. Dr. Rashid's research was remarkable, but he initially hesitated because he felt nervous about presenting in English. He decided to prepare rigorously, practicing his speech daily and learning how to answer questions clearly. On the day of the conference, he presented confidently, and his ideas received international recognition. For Dr. Rashid, English became a tool for his voice to reach the global stage, connecting him with colleagues he might never have met otherwise. In addition, English is essential for innovation in technology. For instance, consider a software developer named Hannah from Egypt. Most of the new programming languages, frameworks, and tutorials were available in English. She noticed that many of her colleagues abroad were progressing faster because they could access these materials without waiting for translations. Hannah decided to dedicate time every day to learning English in the context of technology. She started reading programming blogs, watching tutorials, and participating in international coding forums. Over time, she became confident enough to contribute to open source projects and collaborate with developers worldwide. English allowed her to turn learning into action and ambition into results. English also plays a key role in enhancing social and professional networks. A man named Tariq, for example, moved to Germany with his wife and children. He initially struggled with communication in his new environment, which made daily life and social interaction difficult. Tariq decided to practice English every day by attending local workshops, joining discussion groups, and speaking with colleagues. Within months, he was able to communicate effectively, participate in community events, and build meaningful relationships with neighbors and colleagues. English not only improved his confidence, but also helped integrate his family into a new culture. For students and lifelong learners, English is often the gateway to global knowledge. Think of a student named Clara from Chile who wanted to study biology at a top university abroad. Many of the most important journals and research studies were in English. By dedicating herself to improving her English reading and writing skills, Clara could access these resources directly. She also learned to write her own research reports in English, which allowed her to share her findings with a broader audience. English became the bridge connecting her to academic excellence and global recognition. English also provides access to entertainment and arts that educate and inspire. A man named Leo from Brazil, for instance, loved history. While he could read some translated books, he found that most documentaries, lectures, and interviews were produced in English. By improving his English, Leo was able to enjoy these resources in their original language, giving him deeper insights and a richer understanding. He often said that English allowed him to experience ideas in a way that was much more engaging and complete than translations ever could. Another important dimension of learning English is the ability to participate in global volunteer work. Consider a young woman named Amina from Morocco who wanted to help communities affected by natural disasters. The organizations she wanted to join communicated primarily in English because their volunteers came from multiple countries. At first, she was hesitant because her English was limited. However, she committed to learning and improving through online courses and practice groups. After several months, she could effectively communicate with other volunteers, share her ideas, and even take on leadership roles. English enabled Amina to make a real impact on communities far beyond her own country. English also enhances everyday life in professional settings. A man named Peter from Turkey worked in a logistics company. While his colleagues were skilled, they often faced challenges communicating with international clients. Peter recognized that improving his English would not only help him convey messages more clearly, but would also allow him to understand client needs more accurately. He began attending English workshops and practicing writing emails, presentations, and reports in English daily. Within months, he became the primary contact for international clients, and his career advanced significantly. This example shows how English is not only a skill for academics, but also a practical tool for career advancement. English further empowers individuals to take part in knowledge-sharing platforms. For example, consider Layla, a researcher from Tunisia, who specialized in sustainable agriculture. She wanted her research to reach farmers and scientists worldwide. By writing her papers in English and presenting at international conferences, Leela connected with experts from multiple countries. They collaborated on projects, exchanged ideas, and even developed new farming techniques together. English transformed her work from local to global, enabling a much larger impact than she could have imagined. English also helps in understanding global media and news. A man named Daniel from Colombia wanted to stay informed about international events, but much of the content was in English. By gradually improving his listening and reading skills, he could access news reports directly, understand different perspectives, and make informed decisions. This allowed him to participate in discussions at work and in his community, contributing ideas and opinions confidently. English provided him with the tools to stay informed and engaged with the world. Consider also the role of English in creative industries. A young designer named Sofia from Spain wanted to learn about global trends in fashion and design. Most of the detailed articles, interviews, and tutorials were in English. By improving her skills, she could access this wealth of knowledge and implement new ideas in her own projects. Eventually, she started collaborating with international designers, showcasing her work at global exhibitions. English was the bridge that allowed her creativity to travel beyond borders.
English encourages lifelong learning. A man named Kareem from Morocco decided to start learning English in his 40s. His goal was to read books, watch lectures, and communicate with people worldwide. At first, it was challenging, but he persisted. Every day, he practiced listening to podcasts, reading articles, and speaking with friends online. Within a year, he noticed that his ability to learn in general improved. Learning English had expanded his mind and made it easier to understand other subjects.
He described it as unlocking a new level of curiosity and thinking. English also enables mentorship and professional guidance. A young entrepreneur named Salem from Turkey wanted advice on starting a business. By reaching out to mentors in the United States and Europe using English, he received practical guidance, feedback, and support. These connections helped him avoid mistakes and grow his business efficiently. Without English, these opportunities for mentorship would have been inaccessible. Let's think about personal development and self confidence. A woman named Hanan from Egypt wanted to improve her public speaking skills. She joined an English speaking club to practice, which initially made her nervous. Over time, her English improved, and so did her ability to present ideas clearly and persuasively. She eventually became a speaker at international workshops, inspiring others. English provided her with the tools to express herself effectively and gain confidence in all areas of her life. English also supports access to emerging technologies. A young man named Romesh from India wanted to work in artificial intelligence. Most of the research papers, tutorials, and forums were in English. By improving his language skills, Romesh could engage with the latest discoveries, contribute to discussions, and collaborate on projects with developers from other countries. English allowed him to be part of a global community of innovators, which significantly accelerated his career growth. In addition, English enables participation in international competitions and programs. For example, a student named Maria from Brazil wanted to join a science fair in Europe. The application, instructions, and project reports were all in English. By mastering the language, Maria could submit her work confidently, communicate with judges, and present her ideas clearly. Her participation expanded her network and opened new opportunities for scholarships and collaborations. English is also essential for cultural exchange. A teacher named Ahmed from Egypt wanted to share his teaching methods internationally. By communicating in English, he could exchange ideas with educators from other countries, attend workshops, and even implement new techniques in his classroom. English amplified his impact, allowing his methods to benefit more students than he could reach locally. For entrepreneurs, English opens global markets. A craftsman named Ali from Morocco began selling his handmade goods online. Initially, he wrote product descriptions in his local language, limiting his audience. When he learned English, he could reach customers worldwide, answer inquiries confidently, and provide better service. This expanded his business significantly, showing that English is not only a tool for communication, but also a key to financial growth. English helps people access professional certifications. For example, a nurse named Fatima from Saudi Arabia wanted to advance her career. Most of the advanced courses and certification exams were in English. By improving her listening, reading, and writing skills, she could complete the certifications and secure a higher level position. English enabled her to achieve her professional goals faster than she could have otherwise. Finally, English allows people to share their personal stories and creativity globally. A young poet named Samira from Tunisia started writing in English to reach a wider audience. Her poems were shared online and gained attention from readers worldwide. She participated in virtual events and collaborated with other writers, expanding her influence and inspiration. Without English, her voice might have remained local. With it, she reached the world. English is more than just a tool for communication. It is a bridge to understanding, opportunity, and growth. Consider the story of Omar, a young engineer from Jordan. He had always been passionate about renewable energy and wanted to contribute to global projects. Most of the latest research, online discussions, and technical forums were in English. Initially, he found it challenging to follow complex papers and conversations. However, he created a routine. Every morning, he read technical articles, noted down new terms, and practiced writing summaries in English. After several months, he could participate in online discussions confidently and even present his ideas at international webinars. English gave Omar the ability to contribute to global innovation, expanding his impact far beyond his local community. Another significant example comes from Ila, a historian from Lebanon. She loved learning about world history, but most of the rare manuscripts and research papers she wanted to study were in English. By gradually improving her reading skills, Elo was able to access sources that had previously been unavailable to her. She started publishing her own findings in English journals, connecting with historians worldwide. English became her key to sharing knowledge and learning from others, showing how a single language can expand intellectual horizons. English is also vital in fostering intercultural understanding. Take the case of a young woman named Sofia from Argentina. She joined a volunteer project focused on environmental conservation, which included participants from Europe, Asia, and Africa. English was the shared language, allowing everyone to collaborate, share ideas, and learn from one another. Sophia realized that through English, she was not only communicating, but also understanding different perspectives and cultures more deeply. This experience showed her that language is a tool for building bridges between people and ideas. In professional settings, English is often the language of opportunity. Consider Amir, a project manager in a logistics company in Egypt. His team regularly worked with clients from Germany, the United States, and South Africa. Initially, Amir struggled to participate fully in discussions because his English was limited. He decided to improve by attending weekly English workshops and practicing presentations at home. Over time, Amir became the main point of contact for international clients. His ability to communicate clearly in English boosted his career and strengthened his company's global partnerships. English also provides access to global learning resources. A student named Fatima from Morocco wanted to specialize in biotechnology. Most advanced textbooks, research papers, and online lectures were in English. She made a plan to study English daily alongside her academic subjects. Over a year, Fatima could read and understand complex scientific material, participate in international forums, and collaborate with researchers abroad. English allowed her to access a world of knowledge that would have remained closed otherwise. Another area where English is critical is international business. A man named Yusuf, who owned a small tech startup in Turkey, realized that expanding internationally required English communication. He began learning how to write professional emails, negotiate contracts, and deliver presentations in English. Within months, Yusuf secured clients from Europe and Asia. English allowed his business to grow globally, demonstrating that mastering the language can have practical and financial benefits. English also enhances creative expression. Consider Hana, a graphic designer from Japan. She admired international design trends and wanted to collaborate with artists worldwide. Most tutorials, blogs, and design critiques were in English. By improving her language skills, Hana could learn advanced techniques, exchange ideas with other designers, and even publish her own work internationally. English enabled her to take creativity beyond local limits and connect with a global community. Access to online communities is another key benefit. Rajesh, a young man from India, loved astronomy and wanted to discuss discoveries with other enthusiasts worldwide. He joined an international forum where members spoke English. At first, he only read posts, but as his confidence grew, he began sharing his observations, asking questions, and participating in discussions. Over time, Rajesh formed friendships and even collaborated on a project with fellow astronomy lovers from other countries. English allowed him to engage fully in a global learning community. English can also enhance self-confidence and personal growth. A woman named Clara from Chile joined an English-speaking debate club. She was nervous initially and often stumbled over her words. Through consistent practice, she learned how to structure arguments, use persuasive expressions, and communicate clearly. This not only improved her English, but also gave her confidence in public speaking and problem-solving in her native language. English, in this sense, enhances cognitive abilities and social skills. For people pursuing higher education, English is essential. Zara from Iran wanted to study medicine in the United Kingdom. She needed to pass exams and participate in lectures conducted in English. By dedicating herself to daily practice, she improved her listening, reading, and speaking skills. When she arrived at university, she could follow complex lectures, participate in discussions, and collaborate with classmates from multiple countries. English enabled her to access high-quality education and interact confidently with peers and professors. English also serves as a gateway for global volunteer opportunities. Amina, a young woman from Nigeria, wanted to help communities affected by natural disasters. The volunteer program she joined used English as the main communication language. At first, she was unsure of her abilities, but through consistent practice, she became fluent enough to coordinate tasks, communicate with teams, and participate in planning initiatives. English allowed her to contribute meaningfully to international humanitarian efforts. In technology, English is indispensable. A young developer named Michael from Poland wanted to work in artificial intelligence. Most online courses, forums, and research materials were in English. By learning the language, Michael could follow the latest advancements, share his projects,
and collaborate with professionals globally. His career accelerated because English opened doors to knowledge and professional networks that were inaccessible in his native language. English also helps people access cultural experiences. Sophia, an art enthusiast from Spain, wanted to learn about international art trends and exhibitions. Most tutorials, critiques, and interviews were in English. By improving her language skills, she could engage with these resources, participate in webinars, and even collaborate with international artists. English enabled her to experience art and culture beyond borders, expanding both her knowledge and creative inspiration. Another practical advantage of English is access to professional certifications and training. Fatima, a nurse from Saudi Arabia, wanted to advance her career through international certification programs, which most required English proficiency. By improving her reading, listening, and writing skills, she successfully completed the courses and gained recognition in her field. English became a tool for career growth. English also facilitates international competitions and recognition. Maria, from Brazil, participated in a science fair in Europe. All applications, reports, and presentations required English. By mastering the language, Maria could submit her work, present confidently, and interact with judges from different countries. English enabled her to compete effectively on a global scale and gain recognition for her research.
English is vital for mentorship and guidance. Sem, a young entrepreneur from Turkey, sought advice from experienced business professionals worldwide. By communicating in English, he received valuable feedback, built relationships, and avoided common mistakes. Mentorship opportunities that were previously inaccessible became available through the ability to communicate effectively in English. In addition, English encourages lifelong learning. Kareem, a man from Morocco, began studying English in his 40s to access global knowledge. By practicing daily through reading, listening, and conversation, he not only improved his English, but also developed stronger problem-solving skills, cognitive flexibility, and curiosity. Learning English became a way to expand his mind and explore new subjects independently. English also empowers people to share their creativity globally. Samira, a young poet from Tunisia, started writing in English to reach a broader audience. Her poems were shared online, and she participated in virtual literary events, connecting with writers and readers from around the world. English gave her a platform to express her ideas and gain international recognition. Furthermore, English plays a crucial role in connecting families across cultures. Yusuf, who moved to Australia with his wife and children, initially struggled with communication in school meetings and social gatherings. By learning English, he could support his children's education, engage with the community, and strengthen family bonds. English allowed him to participate actively in his family's daily life and future. English also facilitates access to international research and innovation. Omar, an architect from Lebanon, wanted to explore sustainable building methods. Most of the cutting-edge studies were in English. By learning the language, Omar could incorporate innovative designs into his projects.
collaborate with experts worldwide, and contribute to environmentally friendly solutions. English expanded his professional impact beyond local limitations. English is also key in journalism and media. Layla, a young journalist from Tunisia, wanted her stories to reach an international audience. Writing in English allowed her to share local news, cultural insights, and personal experiences with readers around the world. English amplified her voice, connecting her work with a broader audience and creating influence she would not have achieved otherwise. English strengthens cognitive skills and adaptability. Learning a new language challenges the brain, improving memory, focus, and multitasking abilities. Samuel, from Nigeria, practiced English daily and found that his problem-solving skills in his native language improved as well. English became more than a communication tool. It enhanced his overall mental agility. English supports access to online courses and professional networks. Hana, from Japan, learned English to participate in international design workshops and forums. She could follow tutorials, engage in discussions, and showcase her work globally. English transformed her learning experience and allowed her to grow professionally. English is essential for entrepreneurship. Ali, from Morocco, expanded his small business internationally by writing product descriptions, responding to inquiries, and negotiating in English. His online shop gained customers worldwide, showing that language skills can directly influence financial success and business growth. English enables participation in professional and academic exchanges. Maria, from Brazil, accessed global science programs by learning English, allowing her to collaborate with peers worldwide and gain recognition for her work. This experience illustrates how English creates opportunities for learning and sharing knowledge globally. Finally, English allows people to share personal stories, passions, and creativity on a global stage. Samira, from Tunisia, reached an international audience through her poetry, written in English, connecting with other writers and readers across continents. English gave her ideas a platform that transcended borders, showing that language is a bridge between local experience and global connection. English is a language that connects people, ideas, and opportunities across the world. Consider the story of Imran, a software developer from Pakistan. He had always dreamed of working on international projects, but most of the resources and collaboration platforms he needed were in English. At first, he could barely follow online forums and tutorials, which made him feel limited. He decided to set aside 1 hour every day to read articles, watch technical videos, and write small summaries in English. Gradually, his comprehension improved and he could participate in discussions and ask questions confidently. Within a year, Imran was working on projects with colleagues from Europe and the United States. English had opened doors to collaboration and career growth that would have been impossible otherwise. Another example comes from Nadia, a young researcher in Morocco who specialized in environmental science. She wanted to attend international conferences and contribute to global research projects.
However, the majority of her field's research publications and networking events were in English. By dedicating herself to improving her language skills, Nadia was able to read cutting-edge research, present her findings, and communicate effectively with researchers worldwide. English allowed her to expand the reach of her work and make a meaningful contribution to global environmental initiatives. English is also essential for cultural exchange and understanding. Consider a young man named Julian from Colombia who loved literature and philosophy. While he could access translated works, he found that reading in English gave him a deeper understanding of cultural nuances, humor, and ideas that were often lost in translation. Julian joined online discussion groups where people from different countries shared interpretations of books in English. By communicating in a common language, Julian not only improved his English, but also broadened his cultural perspective, gaining insights that he could not have accessed otherwise. In professional settings, English frequently becomes the bridge to leadership opportunities. Take the case of Rihan, a project manager in Egypt who worked with multinational teams. Initially, he struggled to communicate his ideas clearly in meetings conducted in English. To overcome this, Rihan practiced presentations, wrote detailed notes, and participated in online English workshops. Over time, his confidence grew, and he began leading project discussions, negotiating with clients, and mentoring colleagues. English helped him take on responsibilities that were previously beyond his reach and elevated his professional trajectory significantly. For students pursuing higher education, English provides access to prestigious institutions. Consider the story of Clara from Brazil, who aspired to study medicine at an international university. Many of the textbooks, research articles, and lectures were in English. By dedicating herself to improving her reading, writing, and speaking skills, Clara was able to access these resources, participate actively in class, and collaborate with peers from around the world. English was the key that allowed her to achieve academic excellence and gain opportunities for scholarships and research projects. English also enhances everyday life in technology and digital platforms. Rajesh, a young man from India, wanted to explore online coding courses and participate in global tech forums. Most of the resources were in English, and at first, he struggled to understand them. By studying English systematically, he could follow tutorials, ask questions, and contribute solutions. This knowledge allowed him to develop software projects and collaborate with developers from other countries, demonstrating that English is a practical skill that empowers individuals to participate in the modern digital world. Another important aspect is English in international volunteering and humanitarian work. Amina, a young woman from Nigeria, joined an international volunteer program assisting communities affected by natural disasters. English was the common language among volunteers from multiple countries. At first, Amina felt hesitant, but she practiced reading, listening, and speaking every day. Soon, she was coordinating tasks, giving instructions, and communicating ideas effectively. English enabled her to contribute meaningfully and gain leadership experience, which she could apply in other areas of her life as well. English is also critical for career growth and global business opportunities. Yusuf, a young entrepreneur from Turkey, wanted to expand his online business internationally. Most of his potential clients spoke English, and business documents, emails, and contracts required English communication. By improving his writing and speaking skills, Youssef could manage client relationships, negotiate deals, and market his products effectively. His business grew beyond national borders, illustrating how English can transform entrepreneurial potential into global success. English encourages lifelong learning. Kareem, a man from Morocco, started learning English in his 40s. His goal was to access new knowledge, communicate with professionals worldwide, and enhance his problem solving abilities. By reading books, listening to podcasts, and joining conversation groups, Kareem improved steadily. He found that learning English also sharpened his memory, attention, and analytical skills. It became a tool for not only communication, but for continuous personal development and intellectual growth. English also opens doors for creative expression and sharing talent globally. Samira, a poet from Tunisia, wrote in her native language but wanted her work to reach a wider audience. By translating her poems into English and participating in international writing platforms, she shared her creativity with readers worldwide. She received feedback, collaborated with other writers, and gained recognition she could never have achieved locally. English became the medium through which her voice traveled across continents. English strengthens problem solving and adaptability. Samuel, a man from Nigeria, discovered that learning a new language enhanced his cognitive flexibility. By practicing English daily, he noticed improvements in his ability to organize ideas, think critically, and solve problems, both in personal and professional contexts. English, in this sense, becomes a tool for intellectual development, equipping learners with skills that go beyond communication.
English enhances access to professional certifications and online courses. Fatima, a nurse from Saudi Arabia, wanted to advance her career by obtaining international certifications. Most of the resources and exams were in English. She improved her language skills through study and practice, which allowed her to complete courses successfully. As a result, Fatima secured higher positions and gained professional credibility. English provided her with opportunities that were unavailable otherwise. For students and young professionals, English enables participation in global competitions and academic programs. Maria, a student from Brazil, wanted to join an international science fair. All applications, instructions, and presentations were in English. By mastering the language, Maria could submit her work, present confidently, and communicate with judges and participants worldwide. English allowed her to gain recognition, expand her network, and open doors to scholarships and collaborative projects. English is also essential for mentorship and guidance. Salim, a young entrepreneur from Turkey, sought advice from experienced business leaders across the world. By communicating in English, he received practical guidance, mentorship, and feedback. These connections helped him make informed decisions, avoid mistakes, and grow his business efficiently. English made global mentorship accessible. English allows access to international research and collaboration. Omar, an architect from Lebanon, wanted to study sustainable construction methods. Most innovative studies and expert discussions were in English. By learning the language, Omar could access research papers, attend webinars, and collaborate with experts globally. This helped him implement innovative solutions locally and participate in worldwide projects. English extended his influence and impact. English is also essential for journalism and sharing ideas globally.
Layla, a journalist from Tunisia, wanted her articles to reach an international audience. By writing in English, she could share local stories, cultural insights, and personal perspectives with readers worldwide. Her work gained attention and respect beyond her country, demonstrating that English amplifies voices and allows communication on a global scale. English improves social networks and friendships. Tariq, a man from Egypt, moved to Germany and initially struggled to communicate with neighbors, colleagues, and school staff. By learning English, he could build relationships, participate in community events, and support his children's education. English helped him integrate into a new society, strengthening both social and family connections. English fosters innovation and creativity. Hana, a designer from Japan, improved her English to engage with global design trends, tutorials, and forums. She collaborated with international artists, implemented new techniques, and showcased her work to a wider audience. English allowed her creative work to reach a global platform and connect with diverse perspectives. English enables access to international news and media. Daniel, a man from Colombia, wanted to stay informed about world events. By improving his English, he could read reports, watch news, and understand international perspectives firsthand. This allowed him to participate in informed discussions, make better decisions, and stay connected with global events. English also strengthens cognitive and communication skills. Clara, a student from Chile, joined English debate clubs and discussion groups. She learned how to organize her ideas, express opinions clearly, and listen actively. These skills translated to improved problem solving, critical thinking, and leadership abilities in both her academic and personal life. English empowers entrepreneurship. Ali, a craftsman from Morocco, used English to market his products, communicate with clients, and manage his online store. This allowed him to expand his business internationally, highlighting how language proficiency can directly influence business success and financial growth. English opens doors to cultural and academic exchanges. Maria from Brazil accessed international workshops and exchange programs through English. She collaborated with peers worldwide, gained recognition for her research, and expanded her knowledge. English connected her to opportunities that would have remained out of reach otherwise. Finally, English allows individuals to share personal creativity, knowledge, and experiences globally. Samira, a poet from Tunisia, reached international readers by writing in English, connecting with writers and participating in literary events. English turned her ideas into a bridge between local experiences and global understanding, showing that language is a key to worldwide connection. English is a language that creates opportunities, connects cultures, and transforms lives in ways that are often unexpected. Take the story of Amilda, a young environmental scientist from the Philippines. She was passionate about climate research, but most of the latest journals, webinars, and workshops were in English. Initially, Amilda could only follow some basic articles, and complex terminology made her feel overwhelmed. Determined to improve, she dedicated an hour a day to reading articles, summarizing findings in English, and participating in online discussions. After several months, she could engage fully in professional conversations, share her research, and even present at virtual international conferences. English became the bridge, allowing her knowledge to influence global solutions for climate change. Another example is Carlos, an engineer from Peru who wanted to expand his knowledge in robotics. While translated materials were limited, he realized that the majority of cutting-edge research forums and technical discussions were conducted in English. Carlos made a structured plan. He watched tutorials, read technical blogs, and practiced summarizing content in English. Within a year, he was actively contributing to online forums, collaborating with engineers worldwide, and even publishing small articles in English. English turned a language barrier into an opportunity for career advancement and international recognition. English also strengthens intercultural understanding and collaboration. Consider Emma, a teacher from Spain who wanted to work in international educational programs. She joined an online volunteer project with participants from Asia, Europe, and Africa, where English was the common language. Through daily practice and participation, Emma improved her communication skills and learned to understand different cultural approaches to education. This not only enhanced her teaching methods, but also expanded her worldview, demonstrating that language is more than words. It is a connection to diverse ideas and perspectives. In professional settings, English often serves as the key to leadership roles. Tariq Hasna, a young manager from Pakistan, worked with international clients and colleagues. Initially, he felt hesitant speaking in English during meetings. He began practicing by preparing presentations, attending online language workshops, and participating in role-play exercises with colleagues. Over time, Tariq became the lead communicator in project meetings, negotiated contracts effectively, and trained junior employees. English gave him the ability to influence outcomes, gain recognition, and move into leadership positions he could not have reached otherwise. Students seeking higher education often find English essential. Consider Sophia, a student from Argentina, aspiring to study international law. She discovered that top universities, research papers, and academic discussions were all in English. By studying consistently, reading journals, and practicing writing essays in English, Sophia was able to follow lectures, participate in debates, and collaborate with classmates from various countries. English became the foundation for her academic success and global connections, opening doors she never thought possible. As we've seen through these stories, English is far more than a language. It is a bridge connecting people, ideas, and opportunities across the globe. Whether it's advancing careers, accessing knowledge, participating in global competitions, sharing creativity, or fostering intercultural understanding, English opens doors that might otherwise remain closed. Learning English empowers individuals to grow personally, professionally, and intellectually. It enables communication across borders, builds confidence, and provides tools to make meaningful contributions to the world. No matter your age, background, or field, embracing English can expand your horizons, connect you with the global community, and allow your ideas and talents to reach far beyond your local environment. In today's interconnected world, English is not just a skill, it is a key to opportunity, growth, and lifelong learning. Start your journey, practice consistently, and watch how English can transform your life.